Hey, welcome back to the Natural English Podcast. This is Alex here, and Sarah is with me as always.
Hi, everyone. Nice to have you here. Thanks for listening today.
So, how are you doing right now? Are you on your way to work, or maybe coming home, feeling a bit tired?
Yeah, maybe you are on a busy train, or washing the dishes, or just lying on the sofa trying to relax a little.
Wherever you are in the right place. Today we are getting real about work-life balance and stress, how to talk about it in clear English.
And by the end of this episode, we want you to feel more confident so you can explain your own situation, like, my job is really busy right now, or I try to keep my evenings free.
Before we start, I have a small listening challenge for you. Listen for the phrase, switch off. Switch off means to stop thinking about work and let your mind rest. Later, I will ask you, what does Sarah do to switch off after work? So, listen carefully for that.
I like that. A little mission for our listeners.
So Sarah, when you hear the words work-life balance, what comes to your mind?
Honestly, I remember a time when my balance was terrible. I worked late almost every night. I was always checking messages. I had no time for friends or even for sleep. So for me, work-life balance is how you divide your time and energy between your job and the rest of your life. Family, friends, hobbies, and just doing nothing.
Right. So it is not only about hours, it is also about your energy.
Exactly. You might leave the office at 6, but if your brain is still at work at midnight, that balance is not great, and that is when we feel stress. Deadlines, urgent tasks, late emails, messages from your boss. All of that builds pressure.
Yeah. So if I am always checking my work email at midnight, that is bad work-life balance, right?
Yes, that is a classic sign. Midnight email checking. Another sign is when you say things like, I'm under a lot of pressure at the moment. Pressure here just means you feel a heavy mental weight. Too many things to do. Not enough time.
Yeah, that heavy feeling, and we will use that phrase later. I'm under a lot of pressure. We will also talk about things like, I try to leave on time, or I try to switch off in the evening. So you can describe your habits in natural English.
And just to say, it is totally okay if your balance is not perfect. Most people, including us, struggle with this. We want this episode to feel safe. You can think about your own stress without judging yourself.
Yeah. No one is getting a perfect score for work-life balance here. We are all just trying things and learning. So, before we talk about stress and deadlines and all of that, let us first describe our typical work days. If you can explain your routine clearly, it becomes much easier to talk about balance.
Good idea. In the next part, I will share my daily routine, step by step, and we will give you useful words to talk about your workload and your normal work-life pattern.
So Sarah, let's talk about your normal workday, not your perfect day. Just a usual one. How does your day normally start, and do you feel your workload is heavy or kind of manageable?
On a normal day, I usually start work around 9. I open my laptop, check my emails, and make a quick plan for the day. My workload is pretty heavy at the moment. When I say my workload is heavy, I mean I have a lot of tasks, a lot of projects, and sometimes it feels like too much for one person.
Right. So you're saying you have many tasks at the same time, maybe a lot of projects. and probably some deadlines too.
Exactly. I often have to deal with tight deadlines. A tight deadline just means I do not have much time to finish something. For example, my manager might say, "Can you send this report by tomorrow morning?" That is a tight deadline. So on those days, my plate is full. When I say my plate is full, it means I already have enough work. I cannot really take more.
I see. So on a normal day, you start around 9, your plate is full, and sometimes the deadlines are very close, very tight.
Yeah, and on those days, I often work overtime. Overtime just means I work more than my normal hours. So maybe I plan to finish at 6, but I actually stay until 8 or 9. For example, last week I worked overtime 3 days in a row because we had a big presentation.
So you're saying it's not just a busy hour or two. You sometimes add 2 or 3 extra hours of work after your usual finish time.
Yes, exactly. But I try to have a more balanced week now. So on a crazy week, I might finish at 9. But on a more balanced week, I really try to log off by 6:30 or 7. When I say log off, I mean I close my computer, I stop checking emails, I stop answering messages.
Interesting. So let me check I understand. On a crazy week, you stay very late. But on a normal, more balanced week, you try to log off around 6:30 or 7 and protect your evening a bit.
Yeah, that is the idea. But I still struggle to switch off in the evening. When I say I struggle to switch off, I mean my body is at home, but my brain is still at work. I keep thinking about emails, or a client, or a problem I did not solve yet.
So even when you close the laptop, your mind is still running. You are still kind of working in your head.
Exactly. And it was worse when I was younger. In my first job, I worked almost every weekend. I wanted to impress my boss, so I came to the office on Saturday, sometimes even on Sunday. And one day, I remember this very clearly, I told a colleague, "I am slave of my job." I thought it sounded strong, like I work so hard. But she laughed and said, "You mean you feel like a slave to your job?" The other way sounded really strange.
Yeah, I can imagine that moment. And many learners say similar things, right? The idea is clear, but the exact phrase is just a bit off.
Totally. And it is okay. We learn. Now I would say something more natural, like I feel stuck at work, or I feel like my job controls my life. That is more normal in everyday conversation.
Speaking of natural, let me give you a very textbook sentence, and you can fix it. So, imagine I say, I usually commence my work at 9 a.m. and I finish my labor at 7 p.m. How does that sound to you?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds super formal and kind of old. I would just say, I usually start work at 9 and finish around 7. So instead of commence, we just say start. And instead of labor, we just say work. Those really formal words, they are okay in a legal document or maybe in a speech, but in a normal chat about your day, they sound strange. So natural is, I start work around 9, or I finish work at about 6. Simple verbs, simple collocations. That is how people really talk.
Right. So listeners, notice the difference. Not, I commence my labor, but I start work. Not, I endure a heavy burden, but something like, my workload is pretty heavy this week, or it is a crazy week at work for me.
Yeah, exactly. You can say, it is a normal day when nothing special is happening. Or, it is a crazy week then when everything is urgent. Or, this week feels more balanced when work and free time are kind of equal. These little phrases help people understand your daily rhythm very quickly.
So, as you are listening, maybe picture your own day. What time do you usually start work? Is your plate full most days? Is it a crazy week or a more balanced week for you right now? Just notice, does work take more space than your free time, or is it about 50-50? No need to answer out loud yet, just notice it in your mind.
And as you notice that, you can also notice the words that fit you. Maybe I often work overtime feels true, or maybe I try to log off early feels more like you. These small details tell your story.
Okay, so now we have some words to describe our workload and our daily rhythm. But balance is not only about time, it is also about stress. So Sarah, how do you feel when your workload gets too heavy? What are the first signs that the pressure is too much for you?
When it gets really heavy, I start to feel like I am under a lot of pressure. I get tired, I lose focus, and if it goes on for too long, I begin to feel kind of burned out, like my energy is empty, but we can talk more about that in the next part.
So something I hear a lot from learners is this sentence, I am very stressed, and I always kind of freeze for a second, because I know what they mean, but it does not sound natural.
Yeah, exactly. And it is super common. People want to say they have a lot of stress, but in English, we almost never say, I am stressed. We say, I am stressed with ED, or we say, I am under a lot of stress.
Okay, so just to be really clear for everyone listening, stress is usually the noun, and stressed is the adjective, the describing word, right?
Yes. So you can think, stress is the thing. Stressed is how you feel. For example, someone asks, how are you? And you say, I am a bit stressed. I have a big deadline tomorrow. That sounds completely natural.
Right. And if I want to use the noun?
Then you can say, I am under a lot of stress at the moment. Or, work is causing me a lot of stress. So here, stress is the thing that is pushing you. It is on your shoulders.
Nice. And there is another one I hear a lot at work. I am under a lot of pressure. How is that different from I am stressed?
Good question. So that pressure is one of our new words here. Pressure is like when many expectations are on you, your boss, your clients, your family. So if you say, I am under a lot of pressure, it often means people expect a lot from you or the deadline is really tight.
So I might say, I am under a lot of pressure this week. We have to finish the project by Friday.
Exactly. It is a really natural way to explain the situation, not just your feelings, but also the reason.
You also use this other phrase sometimes. Mo, you say, work has been intense lately. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so intense is another useful word. When I say work has been intense lately, I mean there is a lot happening. Maybe long hours, difficult tasks, many meetings. It is not always negative, but it is heavy. For example, I like my job, but it has been really intense this month.
So it is a bit softer than saying, my job is terrible. It is more like, there is a lot going on.
Yes, exactly. It is a polite, natural way to say things are a bit too much right now.
Okay, there is one more area that confuses people. The words stressed, stressed out, and stressing out. They look similar, but we do not use them the same way, right?
Right. So let us go slowly. First, I am stressed. That is the simple, neutral one. You can use it almost anywhere. For example, I am stressed about the presentation.
Okay, and stressed out?
Stressed out is a bit stronger and a bit more informal. It sounds like you are really feeling it. So you might say, I am so stressed out. I have 3 deadlines this week. Or, she looks really stressed out today.
So I should not say stressed out in a super formal email to my boss, probably.
Yeah, in a very formal email, I would choose, I am under a lot of stress, or I am under a lot of pressure. But in conversation at work with colleagues, stressed out is pretty common.
And what about stressing out? I hear people say, I am stressing out about this exam.
Yeah. So, I am stressing out means I am in the process of becoming stressed. I am actively worrying. It is also informal. For example, I am stressing out about my job interview tomorrow. Or, do not stress out, it will be fine. So same idea, but more about the action of worrying.
Nice. So quick recap for everyone. Neutral, you say, I am stressed. Stronger and informal, I am stressed out. And if you want to show the process, you say, I am stressing out.
Yes, that is a good way to remember it.
Now, there is another word you used earlier when we were planning this episode. Burned out or burnt out. That one can sound a bit scary.
Yeah. So burned out is our third new expression. Burnout is when stress has continued for a long time and you feel empty, no energy, no motivation. So if I say, I feel burned out, it means I am more than just stressed. I am really exhausted emotionally and physically.
So I could say, after that crazy year, I was completely burned out.
Exactly. And people also say, I am close to burnout. That means I am not there yet, but I am getting near the limit. For example, if I keep working weekends, I am going to burn out.
And how does that actually feel in daily life? Like, what happens when you are really stressed or close to burnout?
For me, it is things like, I cannot focus. I read the same email 3 times. I have trouble sleeping. I wake up in the night and keep thinking about work, and I get impatient with my friends or family, even when they did nothing wrong.
Yeah, same for me. I notice I forget small things, or I stare at my screen and nothing happens in my brain.
Exactly. And you want language that sounds human when you talk about that, not like a robot.
Yeah, because a lot of learners say things like, I have a high quantity of tasks and I feel many negative emotions, which is correct in one way, but it sounds very mechanical.
Yeah, it is not wrong, but no one talks like that. A more natural version is something like, I have too much on my plate and I'm feeling overwhelmed.
I like that phrase, overwhelmed. What does it really mean?
So, if you are overwhelmed, it means there is just too much. Too much work, too many messages, too many problems, and your brain cannot handle it all. So you might say, I am a bit overwhelmed with emails right now. Or, we are feeling overwhelmed by the amount of work this month. It is a very natural way to describe that heavy feeling.
Okay, I have to ask about one more expression before we move on. You told me a story about saying, my boss is killing me. What happened there?
Oh, yeah. So I was in a meeting, I was really tired, and I said, kind of as a joke, my boss is killing me with all these last-minute changes. And some people looked really shocked for a second, like, what? Then they laughed when they understood I was exaggerating. In English, we often use this kind of expression as a joke, but your tone is important. You need to sound light, not serious or angry.
Right. So, for learners, maybe be careful with dramatic phrases like, my boss is killing me. They can be funny, but only with the right tone and with people who know you well.
Yeah, exactly. If you are not sure, it is safer to say, my workload is really heavy at the moment, or I am under so much pressure lately. Those are clear and polite.
So, Now, you have a lot of ways to say how stressed you are and why. You can say things like, I am stressed. I'm under a lot of pressure, or I am feeling overwhelmed, and you can give a short reason, like a deadline or a heavy workload.
Yeah, that already makes your English sound much more natural and honest.
Okay, but what can we actually say when our workload is too much? How can we talk to our boss or colleagues about it without sounding negative or lazy?
That is such a big challenge. In the next part, let us look at natural, polite phrases to set boundaries and to talk about deadlines in a professional way.
Okay, so now let's really practice this together. Imagine this simple office situation. Your manager comes to your desk and says, "Can you take this new report and finish it by tomorrow?" But your week is already crazy. Your schedule is full. You are tired. Many learners say something like, "I cannot accept this assignment because my schedule is completely occupied." It's correct, but it sounds very stiff, very, textbook.
Yeah, it sounds like you are writing an email to a robot, so let me give you some softer, more natural options. For example, I'm really busy this week. Is it possible to move the deadline? Or, I'd love to help, but my schedule is full right now. Can we prioritize? Hear the feeling there. You are still honest, but you stay polite and friendly.
Nice. And for everyone listening, that word prioritize, just a quick reminder. It means to decide what is most important first. For example, let's prioritize this project and do the other one next week. Okay. Now, let's do some guided practice with different stress levels.
Right. We'll start with mild stress. Not terrible, just busy. I'll model a sentence, then Alex will pull out the key phrase so you can focus on it. So, situation 1. Your boss says, "Can you join one more meeting on Thursday?" And you are busy, but maybe it's still okay. I might say, "It's a bit of a busy week, but I think I can manage."
So the key phrase there is, "I think I can manage." That means, I can do it. It's okay. Even if I'm a little busy. Can you try it in your head? Just whisper it. I think I can manage.
Good. Now, level 2, medium stress. You are already under a lot of pressure. Maybe you are worried about time. So, same manager, new task. Can you write this presentation by Friday? I might say, I'm under a lot of pressure already. Can we push this to next week?
Listen to that key part. Can we push this to next week? Here, push the deadline just means move it to a later time. So in your mind, repeat. Can we push this to next week? Or change it? Can we push this to Monday?
Exactly. And now, level 3, high stress. You feel, really overloaded. You are scared the work will be bad if you take more. In that case, I might say, I'm worried I can't meet this deadline without the quality dropping.
Yeah, that's powerful but still polite. The key idea is, you protect the quality of your work. You can also simplify it a bit, like, I'm worried I can't meet this deadline with good quality. So, just think. Which one fits your style more?
Okay, now let's flip it. I'll be the boss. Alex will answer like an employee. Then, you copy Alex in your head or out loud if you can. Ready? Situation A. Mild stress. Hey, could you take a quick look at this document today?
Okay, I would say, it's a bit of a busy day, but I think I can manage.
Nice. Now your turn, listener. Use that same pattern. It's a bit of a busy something, but I think I can manage. You choose day, week, morning, anything. I'll give you a few seconds.
And stop there. Okay, situation B, medium stress. I'll be the boss again. Can you finish this report by tomorrow morning?
If I answer, I might say, I'm under a lot of pressure already. Can we push this to next week?
Now it's your turn. Use this stem. I'm under a lot of pressure. Then add something and finish with, can we push this to... And choose a time. For example, can we push this to Friday? I'll pause so you can build your sentence.
Good. Remember, even if your grammar is not perfect, it's okay. The important thing is, the message is clear. You are allowed to protect your time.
Now, situation C, high stress. I'm the boss again. I need you to take over this big client and prepare everything by the end of the week.
That's a lot. So I might say, slowly, I'm worried I can't meet this deadline without the quality dropping.
Now you try. Use this stem. I'm worried I can't. And then finish it in your own way. Maybe, I'm worried I can't meet this deadline. Or, I'm worried I can't do a good job in this time. Take a moment and form your version.
Okay, let's change the situation now. Not the boss, but your colleagues. Imagine, your team asks you to stay late again on Friday, but you are tired, and you really need an evening for yourself. Here is one useful pattern. I'm happy to, but, for example, I'm happy to help sometimes, but I really need to log off on time today.
Yeah, that log off just means to stop working for the day. So listener, try the same pattern in your head. I'm happy to, plus something they want, but, and then your boundary. For example, I'm happy to stay late today, but I can't do it every week. I'll give you a short pause.
Another gentle pattern is, I'm a bit concerned about. This means, I'm a little worried. It sounds soft, not aggressive. So you could say, I'm a bit concerned about my workload if we add this extra task.
Okay, your turn with that pattern. Think of something real in your life. Then say in your head, I'm a bit concerned about, and finish the sentence. Maybe your energy, your free time, or the quality of your work. I'll pause for a few seconds.
Nice. And remember, saying no is hard in any language. Your sentence does not have to be perfect. Even something simple like, I'm really busy, can we change the deadline, is totally fine. Clear and honest is always better than silent and stressed.
So, let's just highlight 3 more useful phrases from this practice. 1, I think I can manage, for when you're busy, but it's still okay. 2, can we push this to, plus a day or time, for moving a deadline. And 3, I'm happy to, but can I, for helping and still keeping your limit.
And as you use them, they will start to feel more natural in your mouth. You won't need to think so much. They'll just come out when you need to protect your time or your energy.
So now we know how to talk about our workload and deadlines in a more natural way. But balance is not only about saying no at work, it's also about what you do after work to relax.
Yeah. Next, I'll share how I personally switch off after work. We'll use words like unwind, disconnect, and recharge. And you can choose what fits you.
As we move into the next chapter, think about your own favorite ways to relax. What helps you feel human again after a long day? Keep those ideas in your mind. We'll use them soon. So, earlier, we had that little listening challenge with the phrase, switch off. And I said we would come back to it. So, Sarah, how do you switch off after a busy day?
Okay, let me think. After a really full day, I like to unwind by doing something very simple. I make a cup of tea, I sit on the sofa, and I just breathe for a minute. No phone, no emails, just quiet.
Right, so you really give your brain a little break first.
Yeah, exactly. And I often go for a short walk to clear my head, even 10 or 15 minutes. I look at the trees or the sky. I listen to a podcast or some music, and I try to disconnect from work. So disconnect just means stop thinking about work and all the problems for a while. For example, you can say, after 6 p.m., I disconnect from work and focus on my family.
Yeah. So first you calm down, you change your environment a little.
Yeah. And another word I use a lot is unwind. To unwind means to slowly relax after stress. Like I unwind by reading a light novel, nothing serious. Or someone might say, I like to unwind by watching a funny show. And then we also said recharge. Recharge is like, give your energy back. Like when your phone battery is low, you plug it in. For people, maybe you recharge by meeting friends, or cooking, or playing with your dog. For example, I recharge by having dinner with a good friend and talking about anything except work.
I like that image. Like you plug yourself into something that gives you energy, not takes it away.
Yeah, exactly. And I also have one small rule for myself. I set a rule: no emails after 8 p.m. So after 8, I do not open my work email on my phone or my laptop. Of course, sometimes I break this rule, but in general, it really helps.
Okay, so imagine someone listening now thinks, that sounds nice, but I do not have much time. What then? What if someone has, I do not know, 20 minutes between work and cooking dinner?
Yeah, that is a real situation. If you do not have much time, you can still have a tiny routine. For example, one listener might say, after work, I usually unwind by washing my face, changing my clothes, and drinking a glass of water. That is it. Only 5 minutes. But you repeat it every day. Or maybe you say, when I feel stressed, I try to do 10 deep breaths before I start cooking. Very small, but it tells your brain, hey, work is finished now.
Yeah, like a little signal for your body and your mind.
Exactly. And for people with kids, it is different again. Maybe you cannot have quiet time in the evening. So your way to recharge might be playing with your children. You could say, after work, I recharge by reading a bedtime story to my kids. Or I disconnect from work when I walk my child to school and we talk together. So the balance looks different, but the idea is the same. You choose one small thing that helps you feel like a person, not just a worker.
Yeah, and sometimes we also have, let us say, not very healthy ways to relax. I think many of us do.
Oh, definitely. I have a good fail story for that. So one time I was really tired and I said to myself, I will relax and watch just one episode of this new series. Just one. You can probably guess what happened. I started at maybe 10 p.m. and then, I want to see what happens next. One more and one more. I stayed up too late until maybe 3 in the morning, and the next day I was so tired it made things worse. I was more stressed, not less. So from that, I learned to set limits. Now I tell myself, okay, 2 episodes and then I turn it off. Or sometimes I even put a timer on my phone.
Yeah, I think many listeners know that feeling, where you are trying to relax, but actually you are stealing sleep from yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you also have a habit like that. Something that feels relaxing in the moment, but later you think, that did not really help me.
So let us turn this to you now. As you listen, you can answer in your head. No need to speak out loud, just think about it. Do you have any rules for yourself after work? For example, like Sarah, no emails after a certain time.
Yeah, and you can use a simple sentence like, after work, I usually unwind by, and then you complete it in your own mind. Maybe by cooking, by going to the gym, by playing games, by calling my parents. Just finish that sentence for your own life.
And then another one. When I feel stressed, I try to... What? Maybe you try to go for a walk to clear your head. Maybe you try to write a list. Maybe you try to stretch for 5 minutes. Just choose one thing that is real for you.
And think about one small habit you are not happy with. You can use this frame in your mind. One bad habit I want to change is, and then finish it. It could be staying up too late with my phone, or checking work messages during dinner, or maybe drinking too much coffee when I feel stressed.
Yeah, and as you think about these ideas, try to imagine explaining your routine to a colleague in English, maybe on a video call or at lunch. You could say something like, after work, I usually unwind by, and then you tell your story. Or I try to disconnect from work by, and then your activity.
We are not asking you to repeat after us right now. This part is more quiet. Just picture the conversation in your head. See yourself talking in English and using these expressions. Unwind, disconnect from work, recharge, and imagine the other person listening and understanding you clearly.
So in this episode, we have talked about your workload, about stress, and about little ways to relax and switch off. I think now it is time to put everything together.
Yeah. In the final part, we will quickly review the most useful phrases, and I will help you build a short, clear summary about your own work-life balance, something you can use again and again in real conversations.
So, we are almost at the end of this episode now. Let us just take a slow breath together and put everything from today into one clear picture.
Yeah, we covered a lot, but it all connects. We talked about your workload and daily rhythm, then about stress and pressure, then about deadlines and boundaries, and finally about how you relax and switch off from work.
Exactly. And to finish, let us choose just a few phrases, the most useful ones, that you can really remember and use this week.
Okay, my first one is, my workload is pretty heavy right now. You can use this when someone asks, how busy are you these days? For example, my workload is pretty heavy right now, so I am trying to be careful with new projects.
That is a good one because it is honest, but still polite.
The second phrase is, I am under a lot of pressure at the moment. You might say it to a colleague or a manager like, I am under a lot of pressure at the moment, so I may need a bit more time on this task.
Right. It shows how you feel without sounding like you are complaining.
And the last phrase, is it possible to move the deadline? This is very useful when you cannot finish on time. For example, is it possible to move the deadline to Friday? I want to make sure the quality is good.
So, those three again, just quickly. My workload is pretty heavy right now. I am under a lot of pressure at the moment. And is it possible to move the deadline?
If you only remember these three from the episode, that is already great.
Now, let us put everything into one little speech, a small monologue that you can copy or adapt for yourself.
Yeah. I will do a model answer now. It will be like 30 or 40 seconds. I will speak at a natural speed, but still clearly. Just listen first.
Okay, if you are listening, maybe just close your eyes if you can and imagine this is you speaking.
So, I work as a project coordinator in a tech company. My workload is pretty heavy at the moment because we have a couple of big launches coming up. I enjoy my job, but I am under quite a lot of pressure right now, and sometimes I feel a bit overwhelmed. To keep some balance, I try to set clear boundaries. I usually stop checking emails after 7 in the evening, and I make sure I take a real lunch break away from my desk. After work, I usually unwind by going for a walk and listening to music, or cooking something simple. These small habits really help me relax and recharge for the next day.
Nice. That felt very real and not perfect, just human.
Yeah, and you can change any part of that to match your life.
Let me break that model into a simple structure. 3 parts. So, part 1, your job and your workload. For example, I work as a nurse and my schedule is usually pretty intense.
Then part 2 is how you feel and any stress. Something like, I enjoy my work, but I am under a lot of pressure at the moment, and it can be exhausting.
And part 3, what you do to balance things and how you relax. For example, to stay balanced, I try to disconnect from work in the evening, and I usually unwind by watching a series or going to the gym.
So that is your little map. 1, job and workload. 2, feelings and stress. 3, balance and relaxing.
After this episode, if you have a moment, pause and try to make your own version. You could even record yourself on your phone using that 3-part structure.
Yeah, and do not worry about being perfect. Just focus on saying something true and understandable.
And remember, there is no perfect work-life balance. Everyone is still learning. The goal here is not to fix your whole life.
The goal is to talk about your real situation more calmly and more confidently in English.
Before we say goodbye, I want to give you a small homework idea. During the next week, notice just one moment when you feel stressed. In that moment, quietly describe it in English. In your head, use one of today's phrases if you can.
For example, you can think, my workload is pretty heavy today, or I am really under pressure right now, I need a break. This private practice can really help.
Thank you for spending this time with us on the Natural English podcast. We really hope you feel a little more ready to talk about work-life balance and stress.
I also hope your week is just a bit calmer. Please, do not be too hard on yourself. You are doing your best, and your English is growing step by step.
We would love to have you back for another episode about everyday work conversations and real-life English.
Take care, keep breathing, and keep speaking. I am Sarah.
And I am Alex. Thanks again for listening to the Natural English podcast. Bye for now.